I think boys don't read as much as girls. Girls are a little more likely to read than
and
boys. Yeah.
Boys suffer the same issues that girls are, and I think a lot of those novels are geared towards women. But anyway.
Well, we're moving toward a different kind of culture where people don't have the patience to sit down and read the Brothers Karamazov. You know, where to sit down and read it, hours and hours and hours are invested in that, and we're getting more in a culture where you're getting interrupted all the time by a cell phone ringing or something. But I think that is the way somehow consciousness is evolving that way. There's not much that one can do about it. We can't stop the evolving of consciousness.
Devolving.
Devolving, yeah. Well, I don't know what to say because there is always an evolution and things are changing. So you just, if you stand back far enough, you see something from which you can be detached, maybe. I mean, there was a long, slow decline and fall of the Roman Empire. Very slow. And some people say that we're in an analogous position. Or we're doing it much faster. But as the Roman Empire fell, elsewhere in the world there was a civilization coming up, you know, and that's always been the case, that once ancient Egypt was a great civilization, you know, and things in Portugal had a great empire, and so forth. In other words, evolution is not just your own consciousness, it's other things too. And so other part of the world, who knows? Something else is moving up. People say that China will be this great civilization. Yes?
I just want to let you know you're not the only one in the room who's heard of Roland Lastarza.
Oh, good.
I actually saw him fight in 1949 at the Jewish Community Center in Yonkers, New York.
Wow.
Before the 3-round fight.
Wow, well, he was good.
Big fellow.
Yeah, big guy.
Big, heavy fellow. So.
Those were the days. The Italian boxers. Yeah. I just saw I wrote about the movie The Fighter. Not that they were Italian, they were Irish. And
Mickey Ward.
Mickey Ward. Well, Arturo Gatti's not in the movie, but actually he is Italian, and he was from Canada. Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti fought these fantastic fights.
3 fights after the movie.
3 fights, yeah. But somehow it was not in the movie. So I don't understand that. When I wrote about the movie for the New York Review of Books, I was questioning why they left that out.
I think they just wanted to show that he reached the zenith by winning the title in London, and then from there on he really had made it by that time.
Well, I don't know. I don't know why they would do that. It's like presenting King Lear without the blinding of Gloucester. You know, you're sort of leaving out the fantastic. The reason that Mickey Ward is well known and that was maybe a movie made of him was because of the Gotti fights, because they were like a little bit like Graziano. And somehow they left that out.
What's the name of what you wrote about the fighter? I'd like to read it.
I wrote about the fight.
The fighter.
The fighter for the New York Review of Books.
Oh, okay. It was a review.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My first foray into film criticism.
Are you still watching fights, either in person or on television?
I haven't been writing about boxing, so I haven't been watching it. My life's gotten so broken up, and so I don't have much time to do things. So I haven't been following that. I haven't really been watching the fights too much. I was trying to think about the last fight that I actually saw. It would come back to me. Mayweather. Yeah. Yes.
Is Blonde being made into a film?
Blonde is supposed to be made into a film with the wonderful director Andrew Dominic, who did the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. And that's from a novel by Ron Hansen. And Andrew Dominic has a wonderful screenplay. He adapted it from my novel. It's excellent. And I was doing email with him and talking on the phone with him. And he seems really like a literary person. But he was muttering something about needing $50 million. And so the last I heard from him was something about he had to get some other work because he needed to actually make money, and then he would sort of do this.
Now, do you ever want to do adaptations yourself?
No, I wouldn't do the adaptation myself. I think it's, people are very professional and they know what they're doing. Yes?
Going back for a moment to the young adult, what were the novels you were drawn to when you were a young adult?
When I was young, when I was a child, the first book I really loved was Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass. And that could be in this bookstore. I mean, maybe it is, because it's such a mystery. It's mysteries and mysteries and mysteries all compounded. And the whole concept of Alice in Wonderland is you're going down a rabbit hole or through the looking glass in search of some coherence and some answer. And there's all these, lots of violence too. There are killings and eating. Creatures are eaten. So I think that book made such an impression on me and really suffused my whole personality, the Alice in Wonderland. The idea that the world can change and familiar surfaces can give way and you go through the looking glass into this other world, and it's sort of the same world, but it's different. You see the backs of things. If you remember, the illustrations in Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass are beautiful. They're very creepy. Alice steps through the looking glass and she's in this other world, and she looks around and sees the clock has got a funny face on it, and people are doing things backward, and it's very, very powerful. Made a strong impression on me. Then when I got older, like in high school, I was reading Wuthering Heights, and I read Dracula, Bram Stoker, and lots of mysteries. I read Ellery Queen. Lots of mysteries. That's, I think, when people are young adults, they're interested in mysteries.
Anybody else?
Oh, I have a question. Could you speak a little bit about your revision process and maybe how it differs, when you're writing a short story compared to a novel?
Well, revision process for me has undergone a lot of change. When I first was a young writer, I could write a whole manuscript out, over a period of months, and we had typewriters then. So plodding away and writing, and then you have a manuscript, say 350 pages. Then I would go through it and read it and make notes and write inserts and create a second draft out of that manuscript. Then I would go back to the typewriter and I would type out with a carbon. Does anybody know what a carbon is? With a carbon, and I would then incorporate the changes and more changes. Then I would have a final draft probably at that point. So my first books were written that way. Now I revise all the time. I write a sentence, I write another sentence, another sentence. I start off with about 6 opening paragraphs and choose one of them that I work with, and I have the opening paragraph. Then I do the same thing with other paragraphs, and sort of trying to get a voice that is fluent and goes through the whole book and with the same tone. And so I can revise the first pages of a novel 20 times or 30 times. I do it over and over again. But I like doing that. I wouldn't be able to do 350 pages right through and then go back and edit that way. And I don't know if it's because I've gotten older or whether it's just that I wouldn't want to do it the other way. The other way seems crude to me now. This way is more exciting. Because every day you wake up and you always revise what you've done the day before and make it better. So, and then you move forward. And I find it very exciting. Get out of bed in the morning and you say, oh, and I can't wait to get to that, and I'll revise what I wrote yesterday. It takes like a couple hours and then you go forward. That's really fun.